So I decided to do something crazy. I did a 20-hour-long dev marathon to turn this into this. I completely overhauled my game visuals, I redid all of my virtual effects, and I designed a new and improved skill passive tree. So this is the third marathon I did so far, and it really feels amazing how much your project can improve in a single day. This time I increased my dev time from 16 hours to 20. And by doing this, a lot of new challenges popped up, like how many white monsters you need to drink to stay functional. My marathon started early in the morning when I created this Trello card and I decided what I want to do this day. The most important stuff I wanted to do was to wrap up my fire, water, elemental spells, which basically means to create a new skill passive tree and add all of these new nodes inside. The second most important stuff was to add in some new monsters and new character, which I found on Unity Asset Store, and it turned out to be great. Then I also updated my world map screen and decided to polish some VFX, some other stuff, and also my forest map. Okay, so let's start by checking how passive tree looked like before. So basically whenever player levels up, he gets one passive point for upgrading his stats. And inside of this leveling tree, he can get his bonuses. So for example, by purchasing this node, he can get additional 10% attack damage. With this node, he gets additional 15% attack damage. And with this one, he is blessed to cast an extra projectile. I didn't really like this system before because it was way too generic and all of these nodes only gave some generic bonuses to the player. But my idea was to build an elemental ARPG, so I needed to make this much more elemental focused. This is how the leveling tree looks like now. So I divided the whole tree into 3 different elements, so fire, water, and earth. So let's take a look at the fire one. So for example, in fire you get a wildfire buff each time you hit an enemy. For each stack of this buff you gain increased attack speed by 5%, and this buff lasts for 5 seconds. And you additionally can have only 5 stacks of this buff at once, which means that you can have up to 25% attack speed just from this buff alone. And then by spending some points in this tree, you can increase, for example, the amount of maximum stacks, and up to 9 in this case. So you can have up to 45% increased attack speed just by purchasing a few nodes in this tree. The idea of this tree is also that you can specialize into multiple elements at once. So for example, you can jump into fire early to get some increased attack speed, and then you can also specialize into water and get some water buffs as well to control the battlefield a bit more. The second part of my marathon went towards upgrading my game visuals. So basically, before I used this low poly style, which I kinda liked before, but after some time I got really used to it and I didn't really vibe with it anymore. So I decided to upgrade it and I searched on Unity Asset Store for some new solutions which I could use. Then I found quite a lot of them which were really cool, and some of them were even free. So I decided to give them a try and see what we can come up with. Spent my last 10 hours focusing on this new character model, on new animations, on this new VFX, and also on these animals. I don't think this is my final look yet, but I really liked how it turned out. I have made different visual effects based on how many elements you have chosen so far. So for example, when you start out and you have no elements, you shoot these white projectiles. But then, for example, if you buy fire element, then your projectiles turn to fire. And let's say you buy water as well, then voila, your elements are now both fire and water. I also hooked up gear to your character model, so for example, if you equip your weapon, then your character is also holding it and attack with it. In the end, I believe my first 8 hours went by super easy, similar to how it feels like doing work. At hour 12, I started to feel the struggle and I needed my first kind of monster to sharpen up my mind. This powered me through the next few hours till hour 16, when I needed my second dose. The last few hours were really brutal and my mind was so foggy that I could only work on the most basic of stuff. I also took 2 short walks outside during this time to get some more mental clarity. So overall, I'm extremely proud of myself to try up something like this and to not give up. I love marathons and I'm sure I will try more of them in the future. My final goal is actually to survive a 24-hour long marathon. Alright, so this wraps up this marathon. If you made it this far, thank you so much. These long ride sessions are tough, but they're also where the game really grows, one tiny step at a time. I am super proud of the progress this weekend, and I can't wait to show you more, as I will attempt to do more marathons in the future. If you enjoyed this devlog or just want to follow the journey, please hit subscribe and stick around. There's plenty more chaos, code, and elemental upgrades coming soon. So thank you for watching and take care. I'll see you in the next one.